to give other people a chance, at least. But on the other hand, it doesn't really matter, because Japanese been playing this for 2 months. I've been playing this for 2 months. So it's going to be ridiculously hard to catch up. They still will acquire the same positions fairly quickly, because they understand all the strings they need to pull in order to get there. But whatever, let's talk Gran Torino. You start messing with this character and the first thoughts are, wow, this is exactly like in the show. Very fast-paced, deals in pressure, and most importantly, he is the master of sick dodges. The problems are, you have to be very good at perceiving what your opponent is going to do, and you have to have good execution. And you have to be able to think on the fly as well, because the character is not stopping for you to think about, oh, what block string should I do here? You have to know from the very beginning that I know that my opponent is about to throw a punch in the middle of my block string. So you do appropriate actions in order to counteract that. You know that, oh, my opponent is going to throw an armor move. And you do an appropriate move to counteract that. If you're just thinking that, you know, I'm gonna press buttons, and whatever my opponent will try to do, I will counteract it right there, inside of the actual block string while I'm doing it, this is not going to happen, and this is the hard part about this character. You have to know! So those dodges are not cancels, they are linear commands that make it look like cancels. Another problem is that you can't really use the same block string and think, you know what, I'm gonna use this couple of moves and be always safe. Then retreat back and do this again until somehow my opponent will break. There are always gaps, but you as Gran Torino can choose where this gap is going to be. Sometimes there are trick gaps, where it seems as if, oh, I can press a button there, but you really can't, because the gap is so small that no move will be fast enough in order to do this, and you get hit. But there's usually a larger gap following after it, so it's a gamble. Basically, your opponent, while blocking, which I don't recommend against Gran Torino, must guess where is that point where he can press a button or do an armor move, because sometimes he has to press a button, sometimes he has to do an armor move, sometimes he has to chase you and do an unblockable. It depends. So instead of sitting there and blocking, I recommend counterattacking. Just don't block. Constantly press something in order to not let Gran Torino in, because if he's in, most likely he's gonna pull out whenever he wants to. Yeah, that was the trick gap that I was talking about. He mashed level 2, and that was the wrong decision. Also, you might notice that I'm striking at an angle, meaning that just throwing out armor will not work, unless you have some special kind of armor, which some characters do. Explosions are, the linear explosions like this are a problem, since you can't dodge them up, you have to dodge them to the side. And if you want to really go out, you can put in support in there for unblockable mix-up. Overall, it's a very strong character, but it's useless if you don't practice the block strings, and if you can't predict what your opponent is going to do once you start doing those block strings. Oh, it's Rail! The dude's not new to the videos. Fought him in the Endeavor one. This is the #1 All Might in the world, and I think #2 player. It's funny how once you get to 5,000 point mark, you fight all the top players who have a lot more points than you. Man, imagine if Gran Torino wasn't an 8-year-old virgin and he had a kid. All that kid would be OP, but that would also mean that that would be probably the primary candidate for One for All. So imagine Gran Torino's quirk plus somebody else's quirk. Like, for instance, Bakugo's mom. I hope that she has explosions, but anyway, let's say he taps Endeavor, so he can bounce around, he can throw fire, and then All Might says, "Dude, since you're Gran Torino's son, here's one for all." By the way, have you noticed that he turned around when I was dodging that? All Might turned around. That's the problem with some characters, because their armored moves are designed in a way that they track you all the way while they're active, and that makes it very hard to dodge them or counterattack on them. Not all of them have this, but some of them do. Deku has an armor move that surrounds him completely, meaning that you can't punish it at all. You have to go back, and then you just have an advantage on attacking, so you can do an unblockable or whatever, but you can't really dodge and counterattack it like normal moves, which kinda sucks. Endeavor's aerial is, at least in my experience, the hardest one to dodge so far. Am I really going to die from that? Holy shit! This is damage. Toshinori. Chill out, dude. Fucking supports. And I can't believe that Gran Torino in his prime used to whoop All Might's ass all day long as a training session. Now that he is old and All Might is old, I don't think that he has a chance, because One for All has evolved in such a manner that he's just too fast and Gran Torino became too slow. I think he even states it. Doesn't really matter, because Gran Torino is still faster than the eye can see, and that's enough to make it challenging for All Might. At least I think so.
It was all combat training for him.
Oh my god, out of the fucking debris! What the hell? Alright, if I've seen that, I would have dodged that. Oh damn it, not enough push block. This is so fortunate that he grabbed himself. Okay, going to be very close. Oh, that's a nice try. Don't underestimate my mobility! Oh my god!